So here we have one of our street side guilds. This is one of the guilds that we put right near our street that walker-bys could actually forage off of. Just kind of a little thank you and friendly neighbor sentiment, you know, to our community. And this is actually a lilac bush that died, and I thought I could either cut the lilac bush down or I could actually use it as a trellis. And then I thought I would also plant some sea buckthorn around it, and then that could potentially in the future act as the trellis. 2 years later, this is what we've got. We put some grapes at the bottom of this guild to kind of climb up and use those scaffolds. And this was Concord grapes and Steuben grapes. So these are the best grapes that we have on our property. Concord are kind of no surprise to anybody that it's a great grape. But the taste is incredible. And the Steubens are fantastic as well. And look at what we did with this, you know, otherwise useless little ornamental section of our front. We turned it into food. Now that you can see the Japanese beetles have been just terrible this season, gobbling everything up. But then they turn into food for the chickens and food for the birds. So they're not the worst thing ever. But they do make the leaves look a little unsightly, but it doesn't really matter when you've got all that food production coming that is not sprayed by anything. You know, we're not spraying to get rid of the Japanese beetles and coating our grapes in toxic chemicals. We're just eating chemical-free fruit. So let's harvest some of these and see what we get. All right, so we are done, and I think we got the whole guild. And then here is the haul. So pretty good. Pretty good for two, I think $15 vines that I bought that have already produced 3 years now. You know, how many how many is that? And there, that is a adult male's size 12 sandal. To compare the size, that is a lot of grapes for 2 vines. Now, one thing I did want to mention is you can buy these in the store and they're fairly cheap, I guess. Like, grapes are not super expensive, but we lose some. We lose some to the birds, we lose some to the wasps. The wasps actually was the most dangerous thing about picking them now, because they do really like them. You can tell when wasps are near stuff because, you know, there's lots of sugars and sugar in the fruit. So these are all completely free of any kind of herbicide or pesticide. So how much is that worth? You know, we do lose some. If I didn't want to lose some, I'd have to spray herbicides and pesticides on it. But, you know, what's the point? Might as well just buy them in the store. Incredible taste. I mean, this is just way better than store-bought grapes. So full of flavor. Maintenance-wise, all we do is at the end of the year, we cut all the grapevines back and yank them out. We cut them back till there's about 3 buds or so. And that's it. You know, we just do a heavy pruning. You take them all the way back because grapes won't fruit on old wood. Once a grapevine gets a certain size, it won't fruit anymore off of that wood. So you have to constantly be forcing the grapes to put out new shoots. So that's it. You just got to prune it once a year. And then you've got this incredible bounty. We plant them all in and around the sea buckthorn so that the sea buckthorn protects it from birds. You know, there's lots of thorns in there. It wasn't too bad picking them, actually. I was surprised. The thorns act as more scaffolding for the grapes to trellis and hang onto. And it actually wasn't bad picking them, surprisingly, to pick them out of the sea buckthorn. It wasn't terrible. Now, what I've been loving using these grapes for is actually kombucha second ferment. The kombucha that I make fermented on the second ferment with these grapes is like nothing else. Tastes almost like the grape soda that you used to get from when you were a kid, except just not loaded up with sugar and actually a probiotic instead of, you know, a giant sugar mess that's going to kill you. These are amazing for making juices. I'm sure they're probably great wine grapes. You know, they're Concord grapes. So anyways, check out growing your own grapes in Zone 4. There's lots of varieties that you can get that produce abundantly, can tolerate the cold weather, and are just incredible tasting grapes. And we don't net them. We don't preclude birds from getting them. Heck, I want the birds to get them because I want birds on my property. I want them to eat all the pests. So we don't net our grapes. We get tons. Obviously, you can see we get tons and tons of harvest. That's 2 vines. You know, imagine if you just put out 20 vines of grapes. You'd have enough to make wine for your whole neighborhood. You don't have to net them. What you do need to do is replicate natural systems to provide the natural, you know, fencing and deterrent, like a thorny bush, like the sea buckthorn, that is also a nitrogen fixer to help offset. You know, when we prune these grapes back, they have to put all that new growth out. That's a ton of nitrogen. So if we're putting nitrogen fixers in there, that's pumping nutrients down to the soil to keep the soil food web of life kicking, but they're handling their own nitrogen load from the atmosphere, and they're dropping all those nitrogen heavy leaves down in the fall that all came from the air. Then we're building and replenishing that nitrogen store in the ground that can help then flush out brand new grapes. And if it just so happens that it's a, you know, a great tea and medicinal plant like sea buckthorn and has incredible berries, then, you know, that's all the better. So, you know, we don't have to fence and spray and net our grapes. We just have to design mimicking nature. It might not work for everybody, but I have to say we used to lose all our grapes to birds. Once we started doing this, you know, look at the harvest. Tons of grapes. You know, and it's trial and error as well, because it didn't work for us the first couple times. You know, I thought we'd have to net our grapes to get any. But as the food forest grew and as more and more food is available on other plants, the more service berries that I plant specifically for the birds, it helps deflect the bird pressure. You know, it's just, you just have to have confidence in, you know, nature's plan, that nature's got it solved, and you just have to find balance. And when you're starting to plant a food forest on a grass lawn, you don't have balance. So you have to establish that balance, constantly plant out more and more herbs for nature, plant some food crops for nature, not just what can I eat, but what can nature eat that's going to deflect it off the things that I want to eat. And just have confidence that it's going to come together. You know, it's 6 years now, 5 or 6 years into my site being completely changed by the actions that I took 5-6 years ago and every year since. And it's really, really starting to pay off. So, you know, have confidence and faith. Faith is just so important. Have that faith that it's all going to come together. It's going to work. It will. Okay, so I just thought I'd also show you guys this sumac tea. So I'm making Hillbilly Lemonade. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. But you basically take the sumac berries. I keep it between these two cheese graters, and then I wrap them in coffee filters because they kind of have this like little hair on them. And then this has been steeping since yesterday. So I'll show you the sumac berries if they don't all fall out, hopefully. Just kind of rip this open.
Dripping.
Yeah. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see that actually. Maybe I can zoom in like this. So that's the sumac berries. I'll squeeze them out. And it makes a nice lemonade.
We'll see.
How are the grapes?
They're really good. Really good. These ones taste like actual grape juice that you'd like buy from the store.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Really good ones.
We have so many of them.
You like them?
Yep.
And then I'll just strain out some now.
Got it?
This is just to get the last couple hairs off out of it.
Oh,
Just in case there's hairs.
just a minute, Jenny.
So this is no sugar added at all. I might have added too much water. It's a little bit weak, but it's good. I would actually just eat it like this, or drink it like this, to be honest. So it'll probably taste better.
So Keith added a little bit of sugar to this, maybe a quarter of a cup, probably less. So I have to try it.
I'm making her try the sumac.
We picked this sumac stuff on our walk yesterday. Oh my god.
Try more.
I just want to take a little sip first. I don't know if I'm tasting the sugar or the sumac. Maybe I should try the one without anything so I can compare it. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. All right. Honestly, it doesn't really taste like much. I think that you watered it down too much. Like, I can taste it, but I might have added too much water. It's better than I thought.
So there we go, hillbilly tea.